welcome to the ANA Candidate Forum. My name is Caleb Noel, and I will be your moderator for this event. We greatly appreciate the participation of 14 of the 15 candidates in the 2023 ANA Board of Governors race. Running for office are the following individuals listed alphabetically. For ANA President, Tom Uram. For Vice President, Mark Leiterman and Rob Oberth. For Governor, Mary Lynn Garrett, David G. Heinrich, Richard Josephiak, Lori Kraft, Patrick McBride, Emil Mestrosat, Henry Mitchell, Jeffrey Rosinia, Phyllis A. Ross, Kenny Samet, and Philip Vitale. Shanna Schmidt has withdrawn her candidacy. Also running for ANA Governor, but unable to attend this forum, is John Brush. We will only be hearing from our candidates this evening, but we'd also like to acknowledge and thank all of those ANA members who are participating via Zoom, or I'm sorry, who are attending via Zoom. We will begin by posing a question, open to response from any of our candidates. Each response will be limited to 1 minute, and no follow-up responses will be permitted. There will be 4 questions in this round. Then we will pose a question to the vice presidential candidates, allowing each a 1-minute response. There will be 2 questions in this round. And then finally, we will hear a summary statement from our uncontested presidential candidate, Tom Uram. So candidates, please use the raise hand feature in Zoom to indicate your readiness to respond to a question. I will call on you in the order that you appear on my screen. Please wait to be recognized before you respond. All right, so let's begin then with our first question. If elected, you will lead the ANA and set its agenda for the next 2 years. What specifically has motivated you to run for the Board of Governors, and how do you plan to address your platform during this term? All right, Pat, you can go ahead. And Pat, please unmute yourself as well.
There, now we're good.
Perfect.
Okay. My short answer is time, especially at my age. I'm 70 years old, and I'm actually the age Ben Franklin was when he left for France in that summer of, or actually the fall of 1776. But really, my reason is that I have a lot to offer. I think that with the various facets of my numismatic lifetime, from shows and collecting and publishing a newsletter to all the experiences I've had, I think I could be an asset with a depth to move the ANA forward, and I play well with others. So in a Franklin-esque style. So that's my answer. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Pat. Phil, you can go ahead.
Okay, at the Future of Numismatic Symposium, January of 2019, Rob Oberth decried the loss of connection to the backbone of the hobby, the common collector. I agree with him. In the 4 years since then, there has been little done, if anything, to attack that problem, that shortfall. So I know that there are clubs in rural areas that aren't ANA members, and nobody from the ANA has contacted them for the last several years. I want to build a consensus on the board on how we best address the outreach problem. And I want to be able to see how we can execute a solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Richard, you can go ahead.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to the members. I am Richard Josephiak and I'm running for ANA governor. I ask for your vote. I am motivated to run for governor because I feel it is the best way to continue my service to the ANA. I have served the ANA in the hobby for the past 30 years as a volunteer in the club and district rep program and on a number of committees over the years. From 2015 to 2021, I was the national coordinator and outreach programs coordinator for the program. I have worked extensively with ANA executive director and many staff members. I have many years of nonprofit experience volunteering on other boards. Being a retired defense contractor, senior engineer, I bring many years of program, budget, finance, and management experience that I can use on the ANA board. As ANA governor, I want to accomplish the following: maintain a balanced budget, improve funding of the ANA, expand member outreach with the club and district rep program, and expand offline educational training and programs for the members and public. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And it looks like we have been joined by Phyllis Ross. So I'm going to repeat the question for her benefit. And Phyllis, if you will please just use the raise hand feature in Zoom to indicate when you're ready to respond. I will be calling on candidates as they appear on my screen. If elected, you will lead the ANA and set its agenda for the next 2 years. What specifically has motivated you to run for the Board of Governors? And how do you plan to address your platform during this term? Okay, and next up we have Kenny. You can go ahead.
The ANA has been a significant part of my personal and numismatic life since 2007, and I have planned on eventually running for the ANA board. During the past year, several leading numismatists, including Mr. Ken Brissett, Tom Urim, many of my contacts on social media, and others have encouraged me to run this year. They feel, and I completely agree, the YNs and the younger adult collectors should have representation on the board. As some of those viewing today's forum know, I have spent the past 7 years promoting numismatics and the ANA on several of the key social media platforms. The ANA does use social media successfully. However, I believe I can use my knowledge to optimize the content so it reaches a wider audience of both younger and older collectors. Additionally, I would like to see a larger marketing and sales department at the ANA to increase our brand to both collectors and non-collectors alike. And I'll discuss this a little later. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Lori, you're up next.
Honestly, running for the Board of Governors wasn't on my things to do list for 2023, but a colleague brought up the idea and I quickly came to learn that it was probably something that I should do and that I had much to offer. My motivation is my platform. I believe that the relationships between the ANA and the dealer community need to be strengthened. If elected, I will work with the Board of Governors and the Executive Director to build a program that improves overall dealer communication and involvement. No other individual can reach as many potential new members as an actively involved dealer. Motivate those dealers and many aspects of growth can and will occur. Thanks.
Thank you, Lori. Rob, you're up next.
Yeah, I want to thank Phil for mentioning that the speech I gave in 2019. It was true then and it is true now. I think that what we have right now is not a lack of engagement in the community necessarily as much as we have a lack of engagement with the ANA and the community. I think that the world is moving so fast and there's a lot of fantastic things going on with the youth and with the hobby and with collectors and dealers. And I think that the ANA is positioned to participate in that. I think we have a lot of momentum. I actually was thinking about not rerunning until I heard that almost nobody was rerunning for this board. And we absolutely need continuity because we have made some progress in the ANA on this previous board. And you know, Lori's right. I think dealers make collectors, and the relationship with the dealers and the ANA is super important. So that's why I'm here, and I look forward to running.
All right, thank you, Rob. Emil, you're up next.
Okay, so I first thought about running after meeting Kim Kick at the Vallejo Coin Club Christmas party, and through her encouragement, as well as my involvement in my local clubs, this is when I decided to run. I've served as a volunteer on our board as a board of directors, recording secretary, 4-term vice president, 4-term president, 4-term treasurer, curator, and youth advisor. Youth are important. I feel I can provide a positive input that has made the dynamics of our club and resulted in a stronger club and a sizable youth participation prior to and through the pandemic. In our club, we continue to add members, and through our educational programs, through we offer the Boy Scout Coin Collecting Merit Badge program, which we produce several times a year. I would like to take this energy and passion and dedication to the ANA. Thank you.
Thank you, Emil. Mary Lynn, you can go ahead.
Okay, I'm motivated to run because I believe in the educational mission of the ANA. I've served 2 terms during COVID, which were very difficult but in the last 6 months, I've seen some progress. And like Rob, I feel like we need some continuity, and I feel like that for me would be a little bit of continuity here, and to hopefully see some of the issues and things that we have done to help them move them forward ahead through me being on the education conventions and the development committees. I feel like there's some things that we put into place that I hope that we can take forward in the next 2 years. The address, I have a couple of points here, is continue to push for the ANA to offer increased content on the new website that is going to be coming up in the next couple of months, and in the Numismatist Summer Seminar. I'd like to reach out to more of the YN and members who have not attended to encourage them to attend to see why and what they are missing. An example that I have had has been quite a few people from our local community, and I'd like to see legacy continue to go.
Right, thank you, Mary Lynn. David, you can go ahead. Oh, and if you would unmute yourself, please, David.
The reason I'm running for the Board of Governors is that I have a strong desire to give back to the hobby that has given so much to me and my family. Because I've been involved with the hobby both locally and regionally for the past 2 decades on the board of Central States and run as president for our local club, I feel I have the knowledge and experience that can help me on the national level. I view the board as a team, so I will not try to set my agenda, but I will work with fellow board members to support and improve the current planned programs that are already in place and look for new ways to move the association forward.
All right, thank you, David. Jeff, you can go ahead.
Well, I appreciate this forum and the opportunity to run for Board of Governors. I was introduced to coin collecting from my father's family, who owned a small store. He'd bring home buckets of change for us to sort out. I was fascinated by old designs still in circulation and started filling blue books and doing research. I'm sure this story resonates with a lot of collectors in our hobby. This fun and educational experience was a lasting memory that I'd like to share with as many people as possible. As governor, I will continue the outreach and education of the ANA so that others can experience the lifetime enjoyment of the hobby we all love. I think it's important that we share our knowledge and our collections with the public. Numismatic writing and collector exhibits are great ways of sharing our passions. As governor, I will act as an advocate for outreach and education through numismatic exhibiting and research. I have worked with the Scouts and delivered coin collecting seminars to hundreds of participants. I fully understand and respect the importance of honoring a proud history of the ANA while cultivating a vibrant membership for the future. If elected governor, I will work hard to maintain the ANA as the global leader in numismatics. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Mark, you can go ahead. And please unmute yourself, Mark. Looks like you're still muted, Mark.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I've been in the board for the last 10 years as parliamentarian and as a governor and the rest. And the reason I'm running is also to provide some continuity to the board. Plus also, I've noticed there's been a trend lately of knee-jerk reactions to getting stuff done yesterday. My feeling is that if you're not the first on the block, you have to be the best. And that's what we need to strive for, is to continue pushing the best in education and outreach. And that's it.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have any other candidates who would like to answer this question? Okay, Phyllis, you can go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to apologize first off for having technical issues on my phone. We've been having some Wi-Fi issues, so I apologize for that. But I am Phyllis A. Ross, attorney at law and current presiding judge in the Houston, Texas area. I was officially introduced to coin collecting by my husband, Ralph W. Ross, the current president of the ANA. However, I was unofficially introduced to coins by my father and mother. They owned an ice cream parlor when I was a little girl, and we got to look at all kinds of interesting coins that we collected. Back then, I was not aware really of the world of coin collecting, but of course, marrying Ralph Ross, I learned quickly about it. I'm running today for ANA governor, and I hope that you will vote for me. I am here today to share my passion for the ANA. It's important for the ANA to achieve its important goals. And I believe with my experience as an attorney and as a leader that I can help to energize leadership.
And Phyllis, your time is now up.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Do we have anyone else who would like to respond to this question? Okay, great. We will move on to our second question then. What do you see as the greatest challenge facing the ANA and the board? And how would you, as a board member, propose to address it? We will start with Richard. You can go ahead.
The greatest challenge I see the ANA and the board are facing is in the budget and finances. Currently, every year for the past dozen or more years, Keith stock is being cashed in to supplement budget expenses. I believe the Keith stock should only be used for 1, an unforeseen emergency, 2, an investment into a new program, or 3, fundraising development. I would propose the board have the executive director provide options on what it will take to have a balanced budget without using the Keith stock, and options the ANA can take to generate additional funds to meet current plan expenses. Thank you, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you, Richard. And David, you're up next. If you would please unmute yourself, David.
I think our greatest challenge is the competition for attention. Video games, social media, streaming, sports card collecting are all challenges for our attention. We have to find new ways to make numismatics attractive to those outside the hobby. Maybe could we market to young professionals in their 20s, 30s, 40s with rising incomes, bring more people into the hobby? I don't know. These are questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, David. Phil, you can go ahead next.
Okay, the ANA has a broad array of resources which serve its members. And it appears that the organization attempts to be everything to everybody. The approach results in spreading available resources really thin. And there's no allowance for funding new initiatives or to pursue initiatives. I think the biggest challenge for the ANA is to set spending priorities which adequately allow for priority initiatives. Other important challenges are enlarging the donor base and updating educational programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Lori, you're up next.
I believe growth is the greatest challenge facing the ANA and the board. Revenue growth, member growth, educational outreach growth, and dealer growth are all at the top of the list of my challenges that I see facing the ANA and the board. As the general manager of the most successful commercial show on the East Coast, I can safely say that growth is and remains one of my greatest challenges. I know that I experienced much professional growth during the pandemic, and of course, I continue to grow to understand what this ever-evolving new normal looks like. But as a board member, I would appreciate the opportunity to work with fellow board members and the executive director to create a bonded numismatic community that works together to achieve, these things of growth. Thanks.
Thank you, Lori. Rob, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we're facing is a lack of true identity. I think it was said well by Phil. Again, I'll give you a shout out that we are spread too thin. We have too many programs. If the ANA was established today, what would our focus be? That would be on education, right? So we're doing so much, and we're doing a lot of good things, but we're doing a lot of things that we probably do not have the resources to do. So if I was here, I would continue, which we are doing, to consolidate all of our various educational programs. It's something I was passionate about day one, and it's something I'm passionate about now. We have a lot of educational programs. They're not streamlined under a single umbrella, and that's what we need to do. I think we need to invest in our digital infrastructure, better connect with our members, and give them educational resources that they need, because that is our identity and that is what we need to be doing. I'll focus my efforts just to continue to push that agenda.
Thank you, Rob. Kenny, you can go ahead.
The biggest challenge, in my opinion, is for the ANA to become more relevant to the tens of thousands of coin and currency collectors who are not present members of the ANA. We need to demonstrate to them that membership offers great educational benefits as well as some monetary savings. I personally would like to see the ANA reach to current and past members to see what benefits they would like added. At the same time, we need to continue to create educational programs and fun activities to attract collectors of all ages, while encouraging present members to maintain membership. We need to take better advantage of the social media platforms, sharing the benefits of being a member, and to define numismatics and how it's an enjoyable pastime to those who are not presently collectors. The economy is and always will be faced with strong headwinds. We see more people moving into hard assets such as precious metals, so the ANA can create educational programs for social media that will show why numismatics can be a fun way to diversify their portfolios.
Thank you, Kenny. Mary Lynn, you can go ahead.
Okay, I believe the greatest challenge is financial stability for the ANA. We must allow the ANA to sustain itself over a long term so that it is able to continue to support its mission of education and being the leader of education in numismatics. How I would address it, the board needs to decide the best use of the limited funds we have as stocks and go forward with that. More online education for all, review the current programs, condense them, and moderate which ones are the best curriculums for our 26,000 members. Aging demographics, target young numismatists through social media partnerships with organizations such as the US Mint and the Smithsonian. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lynn. Emil, you are up next.
Our base is generally, like myself, an older crowd. We need to focus on the youth. Our youth is the future of the hobby. We need to encourage the recruitment of the younger generation as new members of the ANA, as well as all numismatists, so they can learn and get the most out of collecting and the educational programs of the ANA. At the same time, we need to encourage the renewal of current members and attempt to the reinstatement of lapsed members. To accomplish this, we need to focus on our member clubs to encourage ANA membership from their members. Additionally, we should approach non-member clubs to find out why they haven't joined us and to help them become ANA club members. This way we can increase our membership, increase our education, and get what we need to get from everyone out there. Thank you very much and support.
Thank you, Emil. Patrick, you are up next.
Okay, I think everybody's ideas are really good, and I'll probably be more in the camp of financial viability. That seems to be the always the pressing challenge for the board. And if I might, what Rob mentioned, that we do have programs. Some of these programs maybe have reached their life cycle as far as popularity. There's more things out there with social media and different other aspects that are could be more relevant and draw more people in. And secondly, I'm actually currently chairman of the Fund Development Committee for the ANA, so we're always trying to think of ways to bring in money. So our George Heath Society is one of our latest projects that was very successful, and I plan to keep on coming up with ideas of bringing finances into the ANA. So thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. And Jeff, you're up next.
The ANA has met many challenges over the years. The flexibility of the organization to embrace and increase online offerings during COVID is a great example of this leadership. Current challenges of counterfeit coinage and show safety have been met head on with increased information and swift actions. I believe one of the challenges that must be addressed is fiscal viability for the future of the organization. The ANA has been fortunate to have a strong balance sheet and good financial management over the years, but current economic conditions, rising costs, and an aging membership present challenges for the future. As governor, I would suggest a full review of programs and services offered, including a cost-benefit analysis of each program expense. The role of the nonprofit is not to make money, but to use limited funds wisely, as not to jeopardize the future of the organization. As governor, I would bring my 30 years of banking and financial experience in budgeting and operating expense analysis to the ANA board. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Henry, you are up next.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I got skipped over in that first question. Would you mind if I gave a very brief input on that?
Why don't we go ahead and have you answer question 2, and then I will say question 1 again, and you will have an opportunity to answer.
Okay. Well, with regard to the greatest challenge, I think there's 2. Engaging new collectors is 1, and providing value to current members is 2. With regard to new collectors, we need to take advantage of social media. If you've seen Aaron Burke on Facebook, a very good example of what can be done very cheaply. We need to expand the circulation of the magazine into as many schools as possible and encourage clubs to send a student to the seminar in the summer. As far as value, we need to continue the very good programs we've had in digitizing the museum and the library, and put reduce cost back into the ANA by trimming holdings. That's it.
All right, thank you, Henry. And I will repeat question 1, and you'll have a minute to respond to that as well.
Thank you.
And then we'll move on to Phyllis for question 2. If elected, you will lead the ANA and set its agenda for the next 2 years. What specifically has motivated you to run for the Board of Governors? And how do you plan to address your platform during this term?
You're addressing that to Phillips?
No, I'm addressing that to you. That was the first question.
Okay.
Have a chance.
All right. Well, as Kenny was encouraged to run by Ken Brissett, I was also. So he's covering both ends of the age spectrum, I suppose. But I grew up around numismatics. My dad was Ralph Mitchell, and he was in the ANA for many, many years. I would like to pay back some of what I've gained and growing up around numismatics and participating in numerous clubs around the country. I moved a lot because I was part of the time I was in the military, and so wasn't all one club. And I think we need to build on successful programs. I mentioned the library, and I mentioned the museum, and I think these have really come a long way in terms of digitizing what we have and what we have to offer. I'll let it go at that.
Thank you, Henry. And Phyllis, to avoid confusion, I'll just repeat the second question, and then you'll have your opportunity to respond to that. What do you see as the greatest challenge facing the ANA and the board? And how would you, as a board member, propose to address it? If you'll unmute yourself, please, Phyllis.
Thank you. There are many issues facing the ANA, financial stability being one. A primary one to me, however, is assuring that we connect with people where they are to remain relevant. That means we have to get our online education system up and running to compete with today's technological trends. If we don't have people that want to engage in the ANA, financial stability won't be the primary issue. So we want to make sure that people know who we are, they can join us where we are, and they can participate, become members, and help to grow this great organization, the ANA. Thank you.
Thank you, Phyllis. And Mark, you can go ahead.
I think our goal should be more to get out and be into the areas and that stuff. I get more and more input from people in other areas where we see that they have not had, they don't have coin shops or coin shows, and we should have like live experts who have like monthly or every 6 months or so have information which like show and tell, and we can explain to them and teach them everything what we can, where you have experts in errors, experts in tokens, experts in metals, and we bring it to them through the webinars and through live education. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Mark. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the third question now. For more than a century, the ANA has been a trailblazer and innovator in the numismatic community. What is the next big idea that will help the association maintain its leadership position in the hobby? And we're going to start with David.
Well, to echo, I think what Rob and Phyllis mentioned, I think the next big idea has already begun, and that is continuing electronic education. The presence that the ANA has through e-learning and live webinars, virtual museum tours, video archives, the ANA YouTube channel. In short, I think we have to place the ANA and the hobby in front of the world, where the world is online. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Lori, you can go ahead.
Wow, if I only had that magic wand. In my profession, I am constantly trying to think of the next big idea that will bring more dealers, more collectors, more youth, and more investors into our expos. What I have learned is I cannot predict the future, nor are there any magic wands. So you truly do have to be prepared to evolve and to, grow and use the resources as they present themselves. No idea is a bad one, and most likely it will be many small ideas that collectively create that big one. So I also think that electing the right people to the board is the first step to maintaining the association's leadership position. Thanks.
Thank you, Lori. And Phil, you can go ahead. Please unmute yourself, Phil.
Darn. Okay, it's been said many times before that necessity is the mother of invention. I believe that I don't have a corner on all the ideas or all the big ideas. But the teams who are working the different programs will come up with ideas to solve the problems. And, we need to be focused on our priorities. Do we want to establish a missionary effort for outreach? Do we want to update our educational programs before going digital? Do we want to align our summer seminar courses with our correspondence courses? All these things are open and they're challenges, and the teams that you have assigned to work them on the board are going to come up with the ideas to make them work. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Kenny, you're up next.
I mentioned earlier that I would like to see a dedicated marketing and sales team be created. It can consist of paid and volunteer members. Their primary duty will be to promote the hobby and the ANA itself. Sports teams and companies pair up all the time to promote their products. The ANA could do something similar with a marketing sales group. The ANA can go out and look for potential partners in the business and educational world where a relationship makes sense for both parties. As an example, a relationship with AARP will help us reach out to senior non-collectors. By offering AARP members an introductory membership discount to join the ANA, we can attract them. Another idea is a financial institution, SoFi. They focus a lot of their business on attracting high school and college students. Some creative ties can be developed. Many companies like working with nonprofit associations like the ANA, so a marketing team dedicated to building these relationships will introduce the ANA to non-numismatic collecting world, which can only benefit our hobby and the association.
Thank you, Kenny. Rob, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I think we touched on some of the big ideas here in this conversation, and I'm excited to hear a lot of the conversations here. And I think a lot of what we really need are not really big ideas at all. I mean, we really need an all hands on deck approach to communicating and engaging with our community. That's the staff, that's the board, that's all of us. I think Kenny touched on a few things. Bullion truly is, I see it in my shop every day, that bullion truly is a gateway into numismatics, and they're not competing forces. I see bullion stackers turn into numismatists nearly every single day. The ANA has to stay nimble. We have to stay on top of the changing trends in technology and leveraging that technology to enhance our numismatic educational experiences for sure. But I think it really comes down to everybody being involved. And as vice president, I will encourage communication with our community and our staff and our board.
Thank you, Rob. And Richard, you can go ahead.
The ANA must be financially stable and have a steady, dependable revenue stream. Without this, a leadership position in the hobby will be a moot point. The board must ensure that in today's high inflation rate environment, adequate reserves are maintained to cover unexpected cost increases and exercise financial planning using current estimates of inflation rates. Preparing best case and worst case budgets would provide options that the board can select if required. Thank you, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you, Richard. Henry, you can go.
Okay, I mentioned earlier, I think media is where the ANA has to concentrate. If you go out and you observe young people, they're always on their phone. They live on the phone. And so we need to present things in short clips on the phone to get their interest and maintain their interest and encourage them to come back and pursue other programs that last longer, like 10 minutes or half an hour, whatever. But another thing is that we have partnerships that can be exploited, and other candidates have mentioned this, but we have the ANS, the Numismatic Portal, the Smithsonian, and etc. I think there's quite a bit of overlap in what those organizations do. I'd like to see that examined, and it might let us reduce cost. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Patrick, you can go next.
All right, thank you. That's the $65,000 question. What's the next big idea? I always hope that whatever I'm thinking about is that next big idea. But what our shows are our kind of our meat and potatoes of our organization, and my idea was bringing living history into both the World's Fair of Money and the National Money Shows, and I'm getting more successful at that. And it's introducing history, numismatics from a live perspective with historical characters. So that idea I have a fondness for, and I think it adds value to our shows and attracts people that are not necessarily numismatists, but maybe might want to become one after they talk to myself or some of our other historic characters. So, and I'm always thinking, I promise to always be thinking about ideas. So, and I agree with everybody else. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Emil, you're up next.
Yeah, the ANA has done much for the hobby over the years and will continue to do so far into the future. The organization needs its presence and participation not only at the World's Fair of Money and the National Money Show or at the next big event, but also at, with, and in the local coin clubs and small and large state organizations. The governors and the ANA staff at best need to travel and visit in the trenches or at the grassroots level of our hobby. This allows the beginner, intermediate, and experienced collectors, whether amateur or professional, to see how much the ANA cares about its members and those in these numismatics. Thank you.
Thank you, Emil. Jeff, you can go ahead.
The ANA has been the premier numismatic organization since it was founded in 1891 and has been an innovator in the hobby ever since. Over the last few years, the key to success has been the flexibility of the ANA, providing online services and safe in-person shows and seminars. Numismatics is known as the king of hobbies and the hobby of kings. Early coin collecting was exclusively for the rich, but in the 50s and 60s, the general public became more involved in the hobby, increasing ANA membership to record numbers. Social media has sparked a new generation of collectors who have discovered and re-entered the hobby during and after COVID. Today, there is an opportunity for the ANA to take advantage of the surge in popularity of online collectors by partnering with local clubs, dealers, groups, offering digital services to the online community. As governor, I will support a blend of in-person programs and digital services, high-tech and high-touch. Excuse me. The ANA can build membership and capture the interest of a new generation of collectors through smart, innovative use of social media. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Mary Lynn, you are up next.
Okay. Hold on here. Sorry. I say the ANA needs to be the leader. We have no new next big idea. And if I did, I wish I would be able to share that with all of you. We have competition and our nonprofit needs to grow. We need to invest our time, our money, and our talent to give back to our ANA members. Online classes accessible to all members and not just summer seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lynn. And Phyllis, you're up next.
Thank you. As we know, our hobby is constantly changing and evolving. The question is, where's the big idea? The big idea is amongst us. It's in our membership. It's in the people that surround us. We have to stay connected to our membership and be engaged. We have to keep our ear to the ground and listen. I think of large retail organizations such as Sears that were once the big leader. They were the main store, and now they're nowhere to be found because they didn't listen, they didn't stay engaged. We must do that as the ANA. We must communicate with everyone and listen and take the ideas wherever they come from. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Phyllis. Any other of the candidates like to respond to this question? All right, we'll move on to question 4 then. What should the association do to mentor and empower a younger generation of leaders to carry the hobby into the future? And we are going to start with Kenny for this question.
This question brings a big smile to my face. The ANA has played an extremely important role in my love for numismatics. And thanks to the ANA summer seminars and the duties they assign to the YNs, it helped me grow as a person while making me more self-confident. My YN status with the ANA may have ended 4 years ago. However, the staff does such a great job staying connected with past YNs. They've made me feel, and others, that we all feel part of the team. Adding to the financial wherewithal to invite more YNs to the summer seminar should be an area of focus. A sales and marketing team I proposed can also be tasked to reach out to companies for donations to help support the YN and other programs the ANA offers. I stay in touch with many past YN summer seminar attendees. Many of these great young people will be the future leaders in our hobby. So offering more scholarships to YNs will only increase this farm team and help guarantee a growing member will become future leaders. Lastly, if elected, I hope to be an example to young people that they can too play important roles in our hobby.
Thank you, Kenny. Phil, you're up next.
So the coin clubs that we have are the incubators of numismatic leaders. And this is a real problem on how to initiate younger generation into a hobby that's predominantly an old guy hobby. That's sort of the facts. It's an interesting challenge. And while we rely on coin clubs, we should, as a board, have some way of providing some type of an intern program for young leaders to be able to see what goes on behind the curtain. Quite honestly, most of them don't know. And hopefully it's not an apathy thing, it's just an ignorance thing. So I'm hoping that we can perhaps initiate an intern program. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Lori, you are up next.
We don't need to reinvent the wheel here. In my opinion, I think the first step is an easy one: dealer involvement. There are a couple of companies out there testing different ways of reaching and developing the next collector generation. I believe reaching out to those companies and offering assistance and knowledge is an excellent first step. The mentoring and empowerment of a younger generation is not just an association concern, but rather a numismatic hobby concern. Just attend any major show and you will see that we can't hide the aging of our hobby leaders. I feel it's important to honor those leaders, but we also need to encourage them to reach out to some of the younger generation and see where they need assistance. And in turn, they may just learn a thing or two.
Thank you, Lori. And Rob, you are up next.
Bingo. I think that historically the ANA has been a leader in promoting numismatic education. When we needed it for over 130 years, it was difficult to network and connect. The world has changed, right? It's changed all around us and it's a different world now. People can connect, frankly, without us. So again, we need to find out what our identity is and where we fit into this new ecosystem. And we need to look at this organization as almost a startup. You know, let's not look at the organization's identity as what it was, but what it could be. You know, continuing to work with you know, companies that seem to be very nimble and bring products to the market, like Witter Coin and you know, other companies like that are bringing things to market that we need. And you know, some of the grading companies and auction companies are also bringing in interns and things like that. So, you know, I think we just take a step back and take a look around and see what the world looks like today and see what we can do to fit into that ecosystem today.
Thank you, Rob. And Henry, you can go ahead.
Okay, I would like to see the ANA encourage clubs, and they now have a club liaison staff position, to send a member to the summer seminar. A lot of people can't afford to do it on their own, but a club can help sponsor somebody. And I think it would really add to the summer seminar to get new students in there. Additionally, I think board members could sponsor a YN and provide them in going into thoughts and coming out of thoughts with regard to the board meetings, so that the young people will know what's being discussed and what the issues are with the association. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. And Richard, you can go next.
Thank you. The ANA is currently doing the following for the younger generation. We have YNs at summer seminar, many of them receiving scholarships, supporting clubs with YN materials and programs, and supporting YN programs at a number of coin shows across the country. One program I propose would be online mentoring with ANA approved and vetted mentors. Having an online program would allow volunteer mentors to have a Zoom meeting or equivalent with one or more YNs at a time and discuss what the YNs want to know and identify subjects to explore. This would be a low-cost program that will not require any additional ANA staff. Thank you, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you, Richard. David, you are up next.
I think we should ask current YNs and former YNs who are now young professionals in the hobby to get their input on how to encourage the younger generation. What changes would they want to make it their ANA? And how would they attract their contemporaries to the hobby? I'm glad that Kenny's running for the board. Having youth on the board, I think, is another way to encourage young people. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And Jeff, you can go ahead.
Well, I believe in the power and value of mentor programs to foster growth in our hobby. As governor, I would like to pilot a mentor process by setting up a registry of individuals who would have numismatic mentor, those who would like to have a numismatic mentor, and those who would like to be subject matter experts. Mentors can easily meet virtually or one-on-one if the geography works out. Young numismatists and others could indicate an area of focus from several disciplines, such as U.S. and foreign coin studies, should be a great place for novice or young numismatists, ancient coin studies for older YNs and for those who'd like to grow expertise in the field, numismatic exhibitor. I've met many people who have great collections and an interest in creating an exhibit, but don't know where to start. Numismatic research and writing. We could tap into numismatic authors and hobby publications for their expertise. And finally, professional numismatist. This would be a great opportunity to work with dealers who might be able to offer part-time or summer internships at stores and businesses. I feel my experience working with schools and clubs would help me to research and explore the framework for a pilot mentor program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. And Patrick, you're up next.
All right. Yes, I have a few points for young people, for young coin dealers, which we notice are older dealers, and but for young coin dealers, say the age of 35 and under, why not offer sort of a discount bourse rate at our shows, maybe 10% or something, to help them get started in the coin business? Another thought I had was maybe to recruit some of our young numismatists to act as sort of greeters at the entry to our shows, where a family comes in with young people and maybe they're not really new to, or they're new to a coin show. We have a young numismatist that can relate to the kids that come in and ask them, do you need any help? What's your interest? Where can I show you what you might like to do, and sort of things of that nature. Another point is, oh, I'm out of
Your time is up now, Patrick. Thank you.
Okay, I have more.
Emil, you can go ahead when you're ready.
Okay, the ANA should offer additional educational resources that will help local clubs recruit a younger generation of hobbyists as mentors. One example of this could be to encourage clubs and their members to visit local schools and share their interests in coin collecting with the help of the ANA-backed resources. This practice has been done for many years by the Cupertino Coin Club for 4th and 5th graders. Additionally, I have interacted with youth through the Boy Scouts of America, and I've worked as a merit badge, coin collecting merit badge counselor for boys and girls ages 11 through 17 in the Scouts BSA program. Our workshops have drawn scouts from all over the San Francisco Bay Area, and as a part of the merit badge program, it encourages scouts to visit a coin club or coin show, as well as collecting coins and learn all about the all-around knowledge of numismatics. These youth are our future leaders. Thank you for your support and for your vote.
Okay, thank you, Emil. And Mary Lynn, you can go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, first of all, I like the question. The question is, carry the hobbyist into the future. What about carrying the hobby right now? ANA, I think, should offer more networking opportunities and mentoring programs, just like Richard Johesiak had said. World's Fair of Money would be a great platform to host events to invite young numismatists, collectors, dealers to mingle and share numismatic thoughts. Discount tables for our young numismatists so that they can share and realize how important it is for them to have tables on the floors with the rest of us. ANA needs to be present on social media like Instagram, where I see all the young numismatists that are hanging nowadays. So our presence on online is very, very important in mingling with all our young numismatists, because our older members really like meeting up with the young numismatists and gaining knowledge from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lynn. Mark, you can go ahead. And Mark, you're muted.
There, okay. The youth of today, we have always outreached to the youth and that stuff. Our major obstacle in all of this is we end up, when they go off to college, they get married, they drop the hobby through after college or during college time, and then they pick it up years later. We have to try to target those through the college years to keep them interested so they continue on in the hobby and we grow it that way. I had a mentor through college who kept me going, and that was one of the reasons why I continued to collect throughout my college career.
Thank you, Mark. All right, and last up we have Phyllis. You can go ahead.
Thank you. I have liked all the ideas I've heard today, but I want to add another. We can enhance the coins in the classroom program to invite teachers and educators to join the ANA and to use programs and information about coins and connect it to their classroom lessons. As you may know, many of you, my husband, Dr. Ralph Ross, the president of the ANA, started the world's largest coin club many years back. I worked with him to mentor students, to help them, and many of those students are still collectors today. So hands-on, grassroots, working with students and young people makes all the difference. And I hope that we will be able to implement the Coins in the Classroom program in a greater way. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you this evening, and I hope you will vote for Phyllis Ross, ANA Governor. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Phyllis. And thank you to all of our candidates for your responses. We are now going to shift our focus to the vice presidential contest between Governors Mark Leiderman and Rob Oberth. So there will be 2 questions in this round, and responses are still limited to 1 minute each. So for our first question, we're going to start with Governor Oberth. What has inspired you to run for the office of vice president?
Mary Lynn did pretty much. I actually was not going to rerun, but looking at this panel and seeing all the energy in here, I'm actually glad I'm running for VP, because that leaves a lot more room for new governors to come in. This is a complete turnover of the board, which is a bit disheartening, but I think that there's a lot of good energy and good ideas on here, and I'm hoping that that we can keep this momentum moving forward. I think the ANA needs a vice president who has a proven track record of leadership and innovation in the hobby. I've done quite a bit even before I was governor, from the CoinX, virtual coin show, roundtable trading, Great American Coin Hunt, and then after I was put on the governorship, I've done a lot with e-learning and other programs that really have started to create some real energy and momentum behind them to push the ANA forward. And I'm looking forward to serving in that capacity again.
Thank you, Rob. And Mark, the same question to you.
The membership inspired me. They constantly asked me when I was going to run for president or run for vice president, was I going to continue with the board? And I weighed my options. I looked at who was running and the rest for president and determined whether or not I had the time to run for vice president. VP is just not a position as another board member. You have to back up the president if he's unavailable. You have to be available for other committees and that stuff, which are required. And I checked my schedule, I cleared my plate, and I'm willing to provide the time and effort I need to be the vice president. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And for our second question, Mark, we are going to start with you.
I have had, okay, go ahead.
What qualifications or attributes make you the best choice for vice president?
I have been in the boardroom for the last 10 years, 8 years as their parliamentarian, handling the bylaws and parliamentary procedures, and the last 2 years as a voting governor. I have held every position with non-for-profit organizations as president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, membership. I have been appointed to multiple positions with the ANA on committees, including e-learning, security, bylaws, personnel, conventions, judging and exhibits, as well as 3 different search committees for personnel for the ANA. I've served as the National Exhibit Coordinator, the Chief Judge, a National Volunteer, a District Delegate, a Region Coordinator, and even had, which most people don't realize, held a table at ANA conventions as a dealer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And Rob, the same question to you.
Yeah, I think we just need some real energy and leadership and innovation in this new board that's coming in. I think I've proven my ability and my desire to move the needle forward. I think I have done that in many capacities inside and outside the ANA. I helped reformat the auctions at the show to provide more inclusivity to other auction companies. That helps the collector by giving them more opportunities at the shows. I was contrarian in believing that we could bring back the auction revenues that we lost during COVID, and that was proven right. I'm not sure many people believe that we could do that, and we did that. I helped introduce eBay to the ANA. There was some discussions about building an auction system, a custom auction system, and my thoughts were, let's use what's out there already. So I think running for vice president is a natural next step in my involvement with the ANA, and I'm excited to bring my skills and experience to leadership position and help shape the future of the ANA.
All right, well, thank you, Rob. And thank you both of our vice presidential candidates for your responses. All right, now we're going to be hearing from our uncontested presidential candidate, Tom Uram, for his closing summary. So Tom, you can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Kate. And I want to just congratulate all the candidates. As candidates, win or not, you are ambassadors to the ANA. I also tonight want to let you know that I'm here at a coin dinner with at least 12 to 15 ANA members who are have listened attentively. And I know that this will be available on the site under elections for you to show at club meetings and so forth. But I also want to thank our dinner host tonight is Rob Rakowski of Pocket Change, an ANA member. and he has graciously agreed to have us all here and to allow us to have this presentation. But also importantly, Caleb, thank you very much. A number of people have said the great job that you've done tonight in narrating and orchestrating the discussion. Being a governor, I'd say, is more than just coming to a meeting. It's about being and elevating clubs and members and creating the awareness of why it's so important to be and know what the services of the ANA are. So it's more than just saying, okay, I'm here at a meeting and we're going to, discuss all of the logistics. But every day you're an ambassador to the ANA, and that's very important. I hope to lead this organization on a positive basis and recognizing a number of things, including our financial fiduciary responsibilities that we all have to do. And we know that. And I heard many of the governors elects here who agree with the same. But we also have to remember that we're a nonprofit and we are educationally charged organization. Our whole basis from 1891 has been based and chartered by Congress, and we have to follow that. I heard a lot of talk this evening and discussion about outreach. I think that the strengthening of clubs, strengthening of our communications, all of that is important. And I would certainly look for those who have those strengths to really step forward and assist in those things. And I think that's what's really important, is having a diverse board that will be able to lend their expertise, lend their vocational skills, lend their hobby skills as well. From an educational standpoint, I heard a lot about education tonight. I think that it's important to align with other numismatic organizations, whether it be TAMs or whether it be the regional organizations. Tonight, I'm sitting here with Ben Costello, the 1715 Fleet president. There's so many organizations that we can align and promote and elevate. As the ANA rises, so does everyone in the other organizations. We all are in this together. It's not about dealers, it's not about collectors. It's about everyone elevating together and creating the kind of hobby that we'd like to have. Another thing that I would like to present in some discussion that would have a little bit down the road would be that of a foundation board that would be different than the foundation that we have today. I'd rather see an appointed foundation board that is separate. I think that we need to view ourselves as a nonprofit. All of the nonprofits that I'm associated with have separate foundation boards. And I think this could be a way. I heard a lot of you discussing this evening the opportunities of raising money and so forth. And I have some ideas that when this election is over that we'll discuss and hopefully be able to move forward on. But I think that there are some great opportunities in that. Once again, the building of bridges is my theme. Being from Pittsburgh, we have a lot of bridges, and I just think that we can build bridges with the arts, with history, partnerships. I already have several meetings set up to work with the United States Mint. I know that a number of you talked about education in the classroom. We don't need to reinvent a number of these things, as a number of you have said. And I think that the United States Mint teaming up with us on a true positive team up through education and so forth could be something that we could work with. So I'm hoping to do that as one of our bridges. I'm trying to also recognize that we are more than just a coin collecting group. I don't think that we are in our branding. I think we all want to strive for the fact that we're a history group, we're an art group. Yes, we are a numismatic and collecting group, but we can be a whole lot more to a whole lot more diverse organizations. So once again, I hope that you would be able to show this to your coin clubs and get the information out and how important it is to vote for the proper and right people that to lead the organization. Everyone that is presented tonight is extremely qualified. You come from very unique, different and diverse backgrounds, which is very important. And as has been said, we will have a very new group and so forth. But, John and Nancy Wilson are a prime example of building membership. They're always asking. They're ASK, asking, and they're GET, getting. And if you know the definition of asking, it's attitude, skill, and knowledge. If you have the attitude and the skill and the knowledge, you just keep asking, you're going to GET. I hope to be a positive inspiration to all of us. And I hope that the next 2 years will be one of growth and a positive outreach. And once again, Caleb, thank you. And I'd like to thank all the members of the Sphinx meeting that are here with me tonight that have engaged. Like I said, they're all ANA members, and I think it might be the first time some of them have actually listened to some of the forums, and it's so important. So thank you guys all for being here, and thank you, Rob, again, for allowing us to have the presentation. And Caleb, thank you, and all the staff that went into making this evening possible. And most importantly, thank you to all the candidates.
Yes, well, thank you, Tom. And we here at the headquarters do appreciate your kind words. So thank you very much for that. And the ANA would like to also thank everyone who has participated in this year's candidate forum. The complete candidate biographies and platforms will be published in the June issue of the Numismatist. All members who are entitled to vote under our ANA bylaws will receive ballots in the mail unless they chose to cast their votes electronically. The election is open through the month of June. Ballots must be received by Election Services Corporation by July 1st in order to be counted. Thank you all for attending this forum. Thank you for considering our candidates. And from the ANA's headquarters, I hope you all have a wonderful evening.